Hey guys, this is Jim again. I just wanted to jump on again and make a quick video. It's a little bit before 8 o'clock on the East Coast, April 19th, 2021. Only my second video, but I just felt the need to get on and make a quick video. Main reason being is because, again, talking about the end times, where we are in the world, prophetically, and everything like that. I, like a lot of other brothers and sisters in the Lord, people are having a lot of visions, a lot of dreams, a lot of confirmations. I've had them in the past myself, but just within, and again, kind of like in my first video when I was talking about dreams that I had, it's not a big dreamer, not someone that remembers their dreams. Even if I do dream every night like they say you do, I don't know whether we do or not, but if I do, I don't remember hardly ever. Very small percentage of my dreams. So the ones I had 7 years ago coming up this summer are the ones I shared in my first video. I haven't had any other dreams recently. But I did pray for, and this is something that, again, it's kind of subjective, but kind of not, I guess. I mean, but because at the same time, so many of us are coming out with our testimonies and the dreams and daytime visions or confirmations that we're having. Again, this is not something that I've ever done before or ever really would have felt the need to do, but because of the times that we're living in, with everything that's going on in the world, maybe get into that in a minute, but I'm going to keep the video kind of short. But anyway, just within the last 24 hours, just less than 24 hours, doing a bunch of stuff in the house last night, cleaning stuff out, gathering stuff up that we need to get rid of, things like that. So I had a huge box full of my mom's sheet music. There might actually be more of it, but there's one big box full of all kinds of classical Italian music, gospel, church music, things like that. So, and mixed in, I find this right here. It's just a real small little pamphlet that was, and I recognized it right away because it's from one of my vacation Bible schools. Growing up in the town I grew up in South Jersey, the church that my mom sent my brother and I to a vacation Bible school every summer back then. It was 2 weeks long, and I saw this, and sure enough, it's got a date on the inside, 1977. So I was 6 at that time. So it's only a few pages long. It's got some lessons and activities and stuff like that. So I open it up, and the first page I open it up to is, well, it's going to be backwards, but it says, "Be ready, he is coming." First page I open it up to, and then the lesson on that page is the parable of the talents. Matthew 25, verses 14 to 30. So, it's about the 3 servants that the master had. 2 of them used the money wisely that the master gave them, and 1 of them buried the money, didn't use it, didn't earn interest on it. So, I get the point of the lesson being that we want to be about the Lord's work while we're here, and do as much as we can to reach the lost for Christ. So, at the end it says Jesus is coming, and it says a verse to remember, Acts 1:11, which is one of my favorite verses because it's a precursor to what's going to happen when the rapture takes place, which was when Jesus went to heaven after his earthly ministry, which the verse reads, "Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner, and ye have seen him go into heaven." So I found this, opened to that page. I thought that was pretty cool. And then this afternoon I leave work, had to go do something before I came home. Between working 2 jobs and spending a lot of time driving, I've always used my driving time for, not my only prayer time, but for a lot of my prayer time while I'm driving to work in the morning. I'm at home in the middle of the afternoon. If I feel led, I'll pray. So I had just finished praying, and like I said recently, I have prayed for, if it was God's will, to give me some confirmations about, like other people have had, that we are in fact getting close to the end of the age. I kind of went into why we feel that way in my first video, which had to do with the length of a generation that the Bible talks about in Psalm 90 verse 10, and Jesus' parable about the fig tree in Matthew 24, when he spoke of the generation that would not pass away before all these things would come to pass. And so I'm on my way to the stop I had to make on the way home from work, and I had just finished praying about, had to do with school and just life in general, and decisions, things like that. And just every time I pray anymore, it's just mainly about reaching, that God would have his way with me, have his way with all of us collectively and individually as the body of Christ, to reach the lost, to reach as many people, as Barry Scarborough says, to reach as many people as possible in these end times. Because when each of us steps into eternity, nothing else is going to matter, except for what we did with Jesus, what decision we made for him. So I had just finished praying, and like that was it. I was like halfway to where I had to go, and all of a sudden the song, The Final Countdown from the band Europe, pops into my head, like just like that, for no particular reason. And that song was 1986, 87. I know exactly when it was, because I was an exchange student overseas from my sophomore year in high school, and American music in Europe was, in Italy specifically, was really popular, and that song was popular at the time. I don't know whatever happened to Europe, but they were just an 80s hair band. And the song The Final Countdown popped into my head. And now that I'm thinking of it, I didn't write the words down, but I'll put it in the description below. And basically it's, we're leaving together. The very first verse of the song is that we're leaving together. We're leaving ground. We're leaving together, but it's still farewell. We're leaving ground. And then in the second part of that verse, it says, we'll, to the effect, we'll be coming back to earth. And then my next video, like I said, I just jumped on here real quick. I didn't think to write the words down, but if you look up the lyrics too. So what I did was I got online real quick, and I play one of the videos that has the lyrics along with it. And when I saw the lyrics to the very first verse of the song after the intro, I was blown away, because it sounded like a description of the rapture and then the second coming. The rest of the song is kind of, I didn't really get anything from the rest of the verses, the other 2 or 3 verses of the song, but the very first verse talks about leaving together, yet it's still farewell. We're leaving ground. And at the end of the verse it says, will things ever be the same? And but before that it says about coming, maybe we'll come back to earth. Paraphrasing, but so when the song popped into my head, I felt, I was sort of singing it for a minute. I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's weird. So I decided to, I think at that point, and the thing about these confirmations, at least for me, is that what I've discovered is that right away, there's no second, for me at least, there's no second guessing, there's no question whether or not it's from the Lord. I just know it's from him, and I feel like a deer in headlights. Like, I'm just fixed on whatever it is, and it happens like that quickly. So, and the second thing about the confirmations is that they happen when you least expect them. Like literally, God and his sense of humor, which we all know and appreciate and love, because he definitely has a sense of humor. So, and then about a week and a half ago, there was another one. Those two were just within the last 24 hours, but last Friday or Saturday night, a week ago, this past weekend, we have this painting, just a decorative country type painting, hanging in our living room. It's an American flag, and it has words around it. And it has the word taps. Taps is like the bugle call song. So I haven't really had time to research the song yet. Apparently there's been different versions of it, different lyrics applied to it or whatever. So I stretched and I leaned back and turned my head to the left, and my eyes went right to the lower left corner of the painting. And it's got the words to this verse, which I'm going to read, all the way around the painting. In the middle is the flag, and at the bottom center it says taps. Well, I just stretched back for no particular reason. I turned my head to the left and I stretched back, and my eyes went to that spot on the picture, and it said God is nigh. That's right where my eyes went to, was the words God is nigh. As we know, nigh means near. So I thought that was really cool. That was the first one, and I think I've had other confirmations and stuff in the past, but just these last two today and yesterday, and this one from a little over a week ago. The verse says, day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, from the hill, from the sky, all is well, safely rest, God is nigh. So maybe God really is nigh. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and encourage anyone out there that if you happen to stumble upon my video, again, just nothing fancy. I don't really know how to do, like, I probably won't do it any other way than what I do, what I've done in my first two videos, but I don't know anything about, like, I know there's a lot you can do for people that have, you know, more sophisticated channels and stuff like that, but this is just a message, and things flaring up in the world. Like I mentioned, the volcano that's been going crazy in the Caribbean and St. Vincent. I didn't even know there was a volcano on St. Vincent Island in the Caribbean. That just basically has been blowing its top the last 2 weeks to Iceland. Earthquakes subsided in Iceland. There was actually a 5.1 there offshore this morning, but in that region, volcanoes erupting in Iceland. Earthquakes, of course, you know, are increasing in intensity, and after the winter that we had here in the U.S., which was unlike anything, even the winter of 93, 94, which here in the Northeast was the most horrible winter I ever remembered up to that point. 15 ice storms, almost. That was a bad winter, but this past one was really bad. We were pretty much spared here in the Northeast, but we know what happened in Texas and the South. Mainstream media, I don't think is really talking about it too much, but things have flared up tremendously the last 2 weeks between Ukraine, eastern Ukraine, and Russia. I don't have any doubt that they were just waiting for a transition here with the new government for Putin to do what he had been planning on doing. So just again, looking at everything at a high level. Tensions are flaring up, things are going on. Middle East is going to be, after several years of relative peace, like I said in my first video, things have just been turned upside down. The world's basically been turned on its head just within the last 3 or 4 months, maybe not even that long, but it's important to get right with God, and I pray every day that those that I know, those that I don't know, would, you know, that I pray that God would lead people to Him by His Spirit, like the Bible says that it's how people become saved. It's the Spirit that, and then we decide. God doesn't force anyone to decide, but it's important with just, and then the pestilence, everything. I mean, I could probably spend an hour. I don't have that kind of time, resources, so on and so forth, ability to really do. Maybe I will a little bit in a future video talking about the pestilence and what a lot of us call the viper, to avoid any issues. We refer to them as those two words, and really the way And I've been struggling. It's been tough for me, as it has been for a lot of us. A lot of frustration. We're human. We try not to sin in our anger, but we do with all the attacks that are going on. It's hard because we're still human. We see our rights and freedoms and liberties being attacked, and those in positions of power wanting to just trample and shred all of it. And it's very, as someone who has always been a big supporter of the Second Amendment and every one of the rights in the Bill of Rights and the entire Constitution, it's never been optional. Okay, that's what our country was founded on, pretty plain and simple. But needless to say, for decades there's been the push for globalism. I think right now, as we speak, is stronger than ever, no doubt. And the pestilence, I believe, is being used as again, go to search up the Great Reset. Go to it'll take you to a link on the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab is the head of that. Globalism and the globalists and their godless agenda, as Jan Markell says, is what is going on, is what's happening. And now, literally overnight, we see what's happened in the world. No doubt that they're the ones. And again, when you take everything and everyone off the table, none of it matters, because when we all step into eternity, what we see when that happens, whether it's when we die or for those of us who are alive at the time of the rapture, when that happens, we're either going to go up or we're going to be left behind. A lot of people are going to be saved during the tribulation. Read Revelation chapters 6 to 19. That's the Great Tribulation, the last 7 years of human history as we know it, following the rapture of the church. The rapture is 1 Corinthians 15, John chapter 14, and 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 to 16. Those are the three main passages that talk about the rapture. And I've always been fascinated by it. When I was 6, 7, 8 years old, I was terrified because my mom was starting to talk to me about it, tell me about it. And that was a seed that she planted in me that eventually helped bring me around. So I'm going to let it run, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless each and every one of you. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.